There I am. Hello. Welcome to the stream. It's Sunday. I'm Raven. This is Khrysalis Studios. You are in here with me. Mwahaha. And we're going to chat about model horse stuff because that's what we do on Sundays. I'm going to go over Breyer's startling preview, I guess, of, I'd assume, some of the special, variations of the special run horses for Breyerfest in July of this year. They've never really done that before, so it's kind of interesting that they're doing that. We'll cover those, and then we will talk about some studio stuff, and then we're going to talk about having fun in the hobby and kind of in life and with art, and keeping that part of yourself alive and how that can have an impact on your life. So let me see who's here. We have Kimberly. Hello, welcome to the stream. We have Andrea. Good morning, afternoon, depending on where you are. And Krista. Hello. How are you? You're always welcome to come join in person live if you want to participate in the chat. The chat is always wonderful. Most of it happens on Facebook, but there are some people that log in via YouTube, so you're welcome to do that too. It streams in both places on Sundays. Most Sundays. I've done this for, I think, 4 or 5 years now. Pretty much every Sunday for pretty much ever. So, ta-da! All right, let's get into the Breyer stuff. One sec. All right, so Breyer did a thing. And they say here, never seen before. So even they think they did a thing. This is their model reveal. They posted this on the 21st, which was 3 days ago, on the Thursday when they did all their models. So they did a Breyerfest sale for people who had bought tickets between 2020 and recently, for any Breyerfest, I guess. And you could go in and buy whatever they had left. There was some swag, some rotating draft surprises. We can see if there's still stuff on the site, but there wasn't a ton of stuff. I don't know. There's a couple people that were really excited about some of the finds, but a lot of the models that people were kind of hoping for did not pop up. So let's see. Last chance to purchase all access and online tickets for Breyerfest with the ability to complete a preference form for your special run will be noon on June 4th. So if you're looking to choose what special run you might get, it's not a guarantee. You just put in your request for what preference order you have, and then they will let you know what models you get closer to the date. If you end up purchasing after the 4th, then it's a wild card, meaning you get whatever they give you. So get the tickets sooner rather than later. In the meantime, we thought we would like to, or we thought, my brain's like, I'm filling in the blank. We're doing good. Da-da-da. It's going to be awesome. In the meantime, we thought it would be fun to spice things up a little bit and do something that we've never done before. I was right. I have not done it before, which might change some minds and impact how you submit your preferences. So we're revealing this year's split runs. So it says split runs. I don't know if that's saying that it's not all of them, or it might be all of them. I don't know. Just a reminder, all Breyerfest special run model variations are shipped or distributed at random, and which variation you receive is a surprise until you get it in your hands. First up is a delicious glossy version of the Dark Seal Bay Osseberg, done on mold 708 Othello or Winter Song, and will be a 50-50 matte gloss split. This model will be available to all access and online traditional access ticket holders and has been randomly packed in a portion of the VIP boxes. So VIPs will get a random distribution as well, which makes sense. That's kind of how it's always worked. So pretty in gloss. So this is the boy. Quite nice. And he's a solid seal base, so there's no dapples, but the gloss, glossy is my thing. Some mattes are nice, but really gloss is quite fantastic. And then we have a tail variation. So there's normally a glossy matte split, a hair variation, sometimes a full swap, which we did not see in this list. And then what was the last one? Oh, a deco variation is the last one. So we'll get to that. Jumping the shark here. Being revealed for the first time is the new bell tail, which is kind of cool. It's a 3 bell tail for the mule on aquavit, done on mold 828, which is a 50-50 mold split as well. There could be micro run variations within what they're offering too. At this point, nobody knows. They are talking about specifically split runs. So if it's not a 50-50 split, or in the case of the next one, 30% split, maybe it still exists. Maybe they didn't tell us all of them. I don't know, but we'll cover what is here anyways. So it says this model will be available to all access ticket holders and have been randomly picked from a portion of the, or for a portion of the VIP boxes. So a 3 bell tail means broke to ride, pack, and drive, if I am not mistaken. It's been a little while since I brushed up on my mule-ness. One of my first drastic customs was actually a mule, and they wanted a 3 bell tail, so I bought a whole bunch of books on mules and read a whole bunch of stuff because I had to. So that's super cute. Cute little mule ears, no mane, and then bell tail. It's quite a nice color for a mule too. So, and then we have Letha. So this is finally the beautiful Letha, who's done on mold a 582. Will also be a gorgeous metallic teal, purple, and pink Tobiano Pinto. So the normal one is, I think, a black. I think. Can't remember. Alternative to the color, and this will just be 30% of the 200 or 2200 piece run. What does that work out to? 660 pieces of the edition will be the rainbow. Well, it's not really rainbow, I guess the decorator colored, multicolored variation. I don't know if I like the color split necessarily. It's kind of a harsh transition. I wish that there was, like, it could have been teal or purple. That would have been wonderful. Little 90s, but wonderful. The pink, I like the corally kind of almost pink, but I don't know if I like it in conjunction with everything else that's going on there. But lots of people seem to really like it. It does have a really cool, like, teal green eye as well. Ugh, see, look, if it was just purples, teals, oh my goodness. Or even just teal, or even just purple. Or you could have just done the coral and the purple. I don't know. But anyway, it's split up for online, all access and online traditional access ticket holders, and has been randomly picked for a portion of the VIP boxes. We are so excited to be shaking things up this year with the reveals, and we hope that this has you talking about who's taken over your top position in the list. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of people talking about different stuff in the comments, as there usually is. But I think that this is maybe to get more ticket sales, because right now I don't know how crazy their ticket sales are. They've never done this before, so my brain thinks that it's like, oh, we need more people. Do the tickets. So I don't know. I've heard that there's a lot of people that aren't going to Breyerfest this year. So if you don't want it to be super crowded, maybe it's the year to go. I don't know. It is an interesting year. And if you are wanting to support Breyer and make sure they're still around, because I think there's a lot of stuff going on with the economy and things that I imagine that, along with everybody, myself included, we're all kind of struggling a little bit to keep afloat during these times. I'm sure a lot of you guys are too. We know how everything is. We don't get into the politics of stuff here, but like, all the costs of everything have gone up quite substantially, and that is always a strain on everybody. So if you can and you want to, I would still suggest supporting Breyerfest if you want Breyer to be around, and support the artists that you love and do that sort of thing. Because this seems to me to be a little worrisome that they would be releasing or at least some of the variations right now. I don't have insider information. They don't tell me anything about even my own stuff that I've done for them in the past. So it's like, I don't know, but that's my feeling. So I wholeheartedly suggest that you keep supporting if you can the artists and the companies that you want to be around for the next while, because all of them in the world are generally struggling right now, and we all greatly appreciate it. And some are less vocal about it, and I hope that they're not struggling so hard that they need support and they're not asking for it, because that would make me very sad to just see them go boop. But anyways, let's see. We have Jody. Hello, Jody. Jody, always team Matt, or I'm team Matt. She says always ready to trade if I get a glossy. So if you are a glossy fan and you would like to swap, let Jody know, because that might happen. Andrea, in love with that deco variation. It's pretty cool. Like, a lot of people really like it. I'm just being very picky these days. Like, I think a lot of people are. It's like, oh, what can I fit in my heart? And if I don't like 100% like fall over my heels, absolutely die for it, which means that there's more for the people like you that won't. So it works out. To Marion, hello, welcome to the stream. I'm actually having a reasonably good day. My husband forced me, it's a little aside, I guess. My husband forced me to take a break yesterday. He's like, you are not allowed to work. You are required to take a day off, have my card, go to the plant store, buy some plants for outside, and go plant plants. So I did. And I did it in bare hands, so I got like dirt in my fingers and everything. And that is a wonderful thing, because dirt has anti-depression, anti-anxiety components, and it is wonderful. It was nice to get a little bit of a sunburn, and hang out outside and plant plants, and I can show you guys some stuff. So I made baskets because I resent paying a whole bunch of money for basketed plants. So I saw some with the coleus, I think it's called, and then some wave petunias and some creeping jennies. They were a little bit sad looking, the creeping jennies, but that's okay. And then this one has a coleus in it as well, and then some of the spiky grass that I really like. And then this is another set of petunias. They are not wave petunias, but they're really pretty color. They were spotty. Let's see if I can make that bigger. Should have just uploaded the photo. Spotty purple, and I just loved it. And then some of the creeping jenny on the bottom. All the daffodils down there are new this year. I planted them last year, and they came up for the first time this year. And I still have some weeding to do, obviously. The little red and white tulips in the background come up usually just in time for Canada Day, which is kind of fun. And then, did I have any other pictures? There's Nash with all the goodies. My horse-sized dog. So we got a couple little things to plant around, and some veggies and things. The whole car was kind of stuffed, which was fun. But anyways, I was forced to take a day off, and it was actually quite needed. I was trying to do some work, and my husband was like, no, you outside. In the sunshine. Sunshine's good for you. Plants are good for you. Just do the thing. Because I've been kind of not as hyper fixated on the garden as of late, and that has been okay. It's a lot of time investment sometimes to get it going, and sometimes I feel guilty working on anything else other than studio stuff. And it's been ridiculously busy trying to get some tech stuff sorted out, and that's always fun. So yeah, along with making money in an economy that does not like doing that for people. So yeah, wow. Anyways, lovely plants. I was having a lot of fun with them. And then, like I said, I resent paying like $50 for a hanging basket. So for 15, I got the plants to put into one, and it'll eventually flush out into a bigger basket. Jody says, with gas prices on top of our poor economy, it's definitely hard. And electrical. I don't know how you guys are, but we are getting absolutely slammed. Our bills, it's like $600 to $800 a month in a lot of cases. And there's a lot of solar panel companies that are going around trying to recruit people. We're in a good area for it, but they basically do it as like a reverse mortgage on your house, a loan against your house. And we are also in a high hail area, and so then that ups your insurance on your house. And we had our roof replaced in 2011, just before we bought this house, because there's a big hailstorm that went through, and there's been a few that have just missed us. So it's scary because they're not cheap to replace. So yeah, that's always fun. There's no way of winning, it seems. We're just pedaling along, trying to keep our head above the waters. Let's see. Jody says, if I stay home, I can better afford upcoming residents. We had a art hangout for the club Just would it have been Thursday? I think it was Thursday or Friday. Might have been Friday. I don't even remember the day anymore. But we had our hangout a couple of days ago, and we were trying to convince Jody to come to Breyerfest. Not that I'm going. I can't go this year. But trying to get her to go to Breyerfest and enjoy the awesome and marinate in the wonder that is Breyerfest. So I do suggest going. It is a wonderful place to be. If you've never been, you have to at least go once and experience it. Even if you're socially awkward. I'm very socially awkward. I'm like ambiverted. So it's either I'm terrified and I want to run away and hide and recharge, or I can turn it on for a little bit of time and pedal through. But yeah, it's definitely worth the experience to go. Caitlin, hello. Katie, hello, welcome. Katie, not able to go to Breyerfest this year because of how much everything has gone up. Yeah. And that's been a limiting factor for a lot of people too. They did cut some of the events, like the celebration of horses at night. So there's some people that are struggling with that. But yeah, Jody's saying utilities have gone way up. Yeah, and we have these data centers and stuff going in, which is sucking all the water and electricity, which is also making things go up. It's like the data center should be paying for their share. But anyways, Caitlin saying gardening is so cathartic. And I kind of forgot that. It's part of what we're going to talk about later is the playing and the having fun and not always being so serious and work focused. Especially right now, it's so easy to get mired into that. So yeah. Katie's saying her electric via AEP has gone up from 400 to 600 plus a month. I blame the solar fields. It's just hot mess express, and something needs to change because this is not sustainable. However, we do have wonderful things that make life better, like little frogs in our tea. I'm not gonna spill it on my keyboard, but this is my little steeping frog. I have a steeping leaf and I have a steeping unicorn as well. So he's supposed to be able to hang on to the edge of the cup, but he doesn't really do that very well. So I'm going to take him out. It looks like he's peeing, which is actually kind of funny. He has my pu'er tea in it. See, oh, no, here, go, here. Hey, he doesn't. Supposed to hang on more something like that. And he's adorable. So you just open his little bum cavity there. And then you can put tea inside of him, and then he sits in your cup, and it just little things like that make me happy. It's like the not letting your inner child totally wither away, especially with the stresses of the world on top of you. But it's just black pu'er tea. It's lovely. They come in little pucks, and I don't know. I have tea obsessions. I don't know. That is a neurodivergent thing, I guess, as well, where you have like we've got a little bit of coffee, and then I've got a cupboard that has a whole bunch of random vitamins and herbal stuff. And then I have a giant cupboard full of just basically tea. More than almost our kitchen pantry, more than our spices. Maybe not more than our spices. I have a lot of spices. But anyway, I like the variety of switching things up, and maybe that's it, is my brain likes the novelty of it. And then the learning about the different kinds of tea. Like this is a fermented kind of tea. I don't know. Anyway, this is like hyperfixation station stuff, so I won't get too far into that. But I wanted to take a sip of my tea and show you my frog, so I'm gonna do that. Hold on a second. We're gonna have a day. We're gonna have a day. So nice. Anyway, I like how he's just laying in there now. He's given up. He's like, she rambled. I'm done. So anyways, emergency frog situation. Exactly. A dinosaur tea sleeper? Kimberly, you must send me photos of this dinosaur tea sleeper. It sounds wonderful. It's like the Brontosaurus neck ladles you can get. I so want one. I do have a we're totally off topic, but it's okay. This we'll get back. I have a little hard-boiled egg shaper. So you put the hot hard-boiled egg in it, and it makes a little T-Rex skull. It is wonderful. And my my thing is screaming at me. I just typed that in all caps. Oh no, why is it T-Move? Go back. Because I don't have the thing on my phone. Here. Let's take me. Now it's not taking you with me. Hold on. Nope. They do not make this easy. I need to reset this up on this guy. So this makes little, no, little egg skulls, which is fantastic. And I love it. So anyways, that's my little, you got to keep the fun in your life. Breyer, before we get off Breyer, I'm going to do this. They did pop up one new product on the website. For $50, it's a Breyer Kids Deluxe gift set. And so that's new. Comes with a Breyer Kids Club bag with the jumper on it. Somebody let Morgan know that her jumper's in the bag. She needs to buy a $50 gift for kids. Let's see, is there a pin too? Oh my goodness, there might be a pin. Morgan's in trouble. See, they do this to us as artists, and we're like, no, I need the thing. But it has the little black Arabian in it with a little blanket. Comes with Young Rider magazine for a few years. It has the one that I did an article in, which is kind of fun. Welcome to the World of Breyer. And then it looks like a sticker or a pin. What is it? Sticker. It's a sticker. It's not a pin. I don't know if that makes Morgan more safe or less safe, but it is done in the style of a pin, so I imagine we might see that pin at some point, maybe? I don't know. So yeah, that's the thing. If you are interested in stuff, it does have a year-long subscription to Young Rider, so maybe it doesn't have that particular edition. A $5 coupon to Breyerfest.com, $1 donation to the ASPCA, and the nylon drawstring bag, a blanket, and a special edition Freedom Series Arabian, which is the booklet. So that's all the stuff that Breyer had. They do have a Memorial Day sale on. If you're interested, I think it was 10% off for normal people and 20% off for club members. So that is a thing that does things. Doo-doo-doo. Very cool. So yeah, let's get into studio stuff. I love up in the top corner here, there's like the bubbling silicone. That will never get old for me. So in the studio, we have the new medallion that's almost ready for molding and casting. I did show off the sticker. Which is this guy. So you keen-eyed people, some of you were like, I know exactly what it is, because I did mention that you've seen it before. It was in basically all the videos I did promoting the clubs and the expedition. And you guys said you really wanted to see this also as a medallion. So I had spoiled this earlier saying that the medallion was going to be basically the same. There are some differences. I played around a little bit with the idea. So it's going to be the specimen and the specimen's sticker, which is kind of cool. Plus, you're going to get your field notes and all that good stuff, which I included or will be including with all of these different expeditions. So in our most recent location, we are experiencing underwater things with the Victoria Diving Bell, and it is magical. I just want to live in the Victorian era exploring mythical horses forever and not ever go back to reality. It's so hard to like pull myself out of the research and be like, okay, we're going here. But this is done in the coloration style of a mandarin fish, which actually wasn't discovered back in Victorian times yet. So there's a little bit of an artistic play on it because I'd already gotten kind of tied to the color. I got a little bit excited. So we're going to play some exciting make-believe and play with the idea and concept a little bit. We have Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. Mandarin Dragonette. Yes. Very cool in real life. I would love to see one in real life. There's some really cool dragonettes. That's part of my research that I've been doing. They did discover dragonettes before the time setting of the expedition. but not the mandarin fish. The mandarin fish actually came quite a bit later, so it became cool. So it is definitely a wild color. I wanted to do my Takeshi medallion in a very similar color scheme to this. Couple of differences that I'd wanted to do, and I never quite got there with him. He's still sitting in a box, but I think this is super fun. And then obviously for casting reasons, there are some artistic liberties that have been taken with some of the really tiny spiky parts, like the one back fin and the front kind of unicorny chunk of fin that he has there. Had to move things around, and my brain wanted to make him gigantic for your medallion club boxes, which there's some limitations that have to happen. So we have this guy, and then of course within the breed or species, there's a little bit of variation. So that'll be something that will come up in the field notes, and I think you guys will really enjoy that. I had a pair a few years ago. Can you keep them inside? How big of a tank do you need? I don't need to get into that. Never mind. I don't want to know. I don't want to know because I don't need a fish tank. I had betas for a long time, and we had a couple of other types of fish, but it's always fascinated me, the tank thing, but it feels like it would be a super hyperfixation that would take up most of my life. You have those ever? I get those. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go do the thing. And then it's like 150% dive and nothing else exists. And that kind of scares me sometimes, especially when I want to get ponies done for you guys. I had one in my saltwater aquarium. It was glorious. Oh no! Don't tell me these things. I so want, but no, 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 no. La la la. Obsessed with fish. I have 2 salt and 2 fresh. No, I don't need that hyperfixation. We can't start there. Okay, don't be bad influences. You guys, if you want ponies, you have to behave a little bit. Caitlin says, I love the colors. The colors on this are so much fun. And it is quite fantastic. Like I obviously had to use some creative liberties to play with the colors a little bit because you see the mandarin fish in the background. There are some variations within the species, like there are with everything, and I played with some of the horse shapes a little bit to bring up some colors. I actually was working on this when my husband was in the ER, and people were like, "What are you doing?" Like drawing on my iPad. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy this. I love doing the field notes for this, and I loved doing both this and the medallion. And a whole bunch of people, when I posted the sketch, immediately were like, "Oh my god, we need this in medallion form." And I haven't really done a hippocampus in medallion form, so well, technically in any form. There were 2 hippocampus medallions I did way back in the day. Just the heads, and I had them for the Sugar High live show that I did, and they didn't really get very far in the sense of I didn't do a big public release of them. But I think I've shown them on the stream before. And I have Darius, but his head's chopped off and he's not quite there yet. He's the resin sculpture based on the pony first Darius. And then now there's this guy. And technically there's Bright Eyes, who's also kind of a pony style hippocampus. But this is the first official, like proper hippocampus. And I can see him right there. So I will show you guys eventually, but not yet. You can't see it yet. Oh, Jody says she used to raise dices, and angelfish, freshwater, in a 250-gallon water tank. Oh my goodness, that is a big tank. Sarah's laughing at me. Laugh at me! Don't! You don't need to talk. See, squirrel brain. I'll just, and it'll be gone. So yeah, that's what we're doing for the Medallion Club and the Sticker Club this month, which is kind of fun. And like I said, the variation kind of makes it a little bit cooler too. So you get to see some cool stuff this month. And you can technically still join if you want the sticker. We have until next Sunday to sign up before we're on the next month. And then if you wanted to join the Medallion Club, you can also do that. You just have to make up the payment for last month because 2 payments make up $1. And then you get the medallion, which is super cool. All right. And we'll make this removed. And like going through the history of like some of the women that were starting to come up in the world kind of in the 1900s, 1900 100, 1910, in about there. There is some really cool historical women that were really emerging within the equestrian space, which makes this even more fascinating. But anyways, all right. And then I will reveal, obviously, where we're going next in the field notes for this. Not yet. I did do something kind of cool for our club members. I can show you a little peek behind the scenes here. I don't know how many people did it, but within here, you got all your members only stuff, and then you're able to play a puzzle to reveal what the sticker was for this month, which is kind of cool. This took you to this little puzzle maker, and you could plop your pieces in there and figure out what it was that way. So if you guys enjoyed that or enjoyed that concept, let me know. But you can also click the picture there, and it would reveal what the sticker was below it. So doing some fun playing with ideas here. I did talk about in the art hangout, and there's going to be another one today for club members at 1 o'clock my time till 3 o'clock my time. So in just over an hour it starts. And the last one we talked about, there's a technology that I'm looking into because of the Kylie post. She had mentioned, I'll just bring it up and you guys can see it because this is studio adjacent. Pardon me. Here. So this is someone on TikTok called NAH, Crazy About Horses, and they've been scanning or getting a hold of scans of resins. So this is Kylie's Jolie, and then the Breyer foal to go with her mare that she did for Breyerfest, and that's Josine Vingering's horse. I'm not sure who the grazing one is, which artist that's attributed to, or this one, but that's Arcturus by Jen Scott. Looks like there's been a few horses that have been scanned and reproduced. There have been Breyers that have popped up on some of the 3D printing websites. I've let them know about those. If you see anything that's being replicated, let the original artist know. It's really hard to do anything about this within the space. You can try and sue people, but more pop up, especially when it's stuff that's happening in China. It can be really challenging to address. You can send cease and desists, but so all you can really do is support the original artists and let people know when this pops up, report it for theft. It's really hard to do anything about it, which is really unfortunate, and it's probably going to be something that pops up more and more with scanning being more common and cheaper and 3D printing being more common and cheaper. There's always going to be people that want something for free or for cheap and don't want to have to pay for prices from the artist or pay for stuff on the secondary market. I've had Juggernaut pop up on 3D printing websites. He was geometrically abstract, but even to the little twist in the tip of the tail, it was definitely my work. I did contact that person that had posted the file and say, that's my art, don't steal it. And they did take it down, but I've seen Geordie pop up in a metal sculpture. I've had my work stolen by hobby people before and claimed as their own. So we're no strangers to this happening, and it just sucks. So don't support it. Don't financially support these people. Don't morally support these people by liking their stuff. Report them if you can. Tell us if you can. That's kind of the best thing to do. Even a Fireheart, I guess, popped up as scanned and made into train scale at a local show in Arizona. And the person that did it said, well, I'm just using it for personal use, so it's not a problem. That's technically still not legal. I'm still not suggested. Like, there's artists and companies obviously behind these things, and it doesn't help us if you do stuff like that. So don't do it. But this was meant to be brought up not necessarily as a rant about copying things, but more as a rant about or not a rant. I'm in the my brain space is wanting to rant, apparently. I'm working on a technology that will allow me to be able to better and allow you guys to better authenticate my sculptures as officially Raven Maddock Crystal Studios castings. And customs, which is kind of cool. So you'll see more about that soon. I should have that stuff in my hands shortly here. And then that will allow me to do some testing and some programming and work on some stuff in the background that will allow basically anybody to be able to authenticate something right away. And if there's run numbers associated with something, then you'll be able to tell which number of the run number it is, which will also help prevent theft because you'll be able to see, say, Juggernaut number 7, and if somebody had stolen it, you could tell it's still number 7. And if somebody strips it and repaints it, you can still tell it's number 7, which should allow for some better security within the hobby. It should help with some theft prevention, hopefully, because that's not a huge issue, thank goodness, but it is something that comes up every once in a while. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. It might come with an additional cost. Obviously, there's some extra stuff in the background of me needing to obviously buy the tech to do it, and then the programming and everything about that that will have to go into how all this will work. I don't imagine that it would be tons of money, maybe $10 or $20 per horse additional, and it would just make it easier for everybody to be able to track stuff. And I'm trying to keep it as um, computer illiterate as possible, meaning I got to do the computer illiterate crazy part of the programming and stuff in the background, but for the collector, you're not going to necessarily need to have a special device or anything additional other than maybe a phone to be able to check your pieces. You're not going to have to take your piece into like a vet place to have it scanned or own a different piece of technology to scan it. Anybody at a show can pull up what that piece is, which is also kind of cool for somebody that's like, what is this resin? And you can be like, bing, or what was this horse originally as a custom? Bing. I'm really quite excited about it, and I will be, like I said, sharing more information soon. I don't want to tell you exactly what it is. I don't want to lead anybody down crazy rabbit trails until I figure out that this will work the way that I think that it will and hope that it will, because it'd be kind of cool. Oh, cool. So Sarah and Jody did the puzzle and it was fun. Awesome. I'm going to keep doing, I want to include some of the fun stuff because I really enjoy that in the background. Caitlin says they saw her post. It's awful that people think they can get away with. And a lot of people do it because they're like, I'm not making money off of it. I'm giving away the file. I just printed it for myself. But if I could go and print, like if you could just print a Stormwatch instead of buying one, that saves you thousands of dollars. I understand. And there were plaster copies of resins at one point, like Stormwatch, and some of the Burrells and things, because wherever people think they can make money, they can. And part of what makes the hobby and some of these pieces special is that they're not available to everybody. Like you can't own the original Orinoco custom very easily. And some of these things go into black hole collections and you'll never see them again, and no one will ever be able to own them. And that makes them special too. So it's kind of, I get that everybody wants it, but I also get that it's a special one of a kind piece. Like some of these customs, you can't get anywhere. There's not a reproduction. They're not a scanned and made into resin. Like some of them have been, but it kind of makes them more special when they're not, in their own way, right? And then we can appreciate them for what they are as like a one of a kind piece of art. Katie says, yeah, someone illegally doing 3 prints of Breyer and various artists' works. Huge no-no. And some people don't understand because there's people online that are promoting you can scan a Lego piece and reproduce it. So why wouldn't you be able to do a Breyer? I understand the confusion, and there's not a lot of people that are gently teaching people the right ways to do things and why there are kind of rules and boundaries, and it sometimes can feel like gatekeeping. I do understand that perspective, but also, like I said, there's artists behind this stuff, and if you're gonna scan a Juggernaut and anybody can print him, then that hurts the people that already own him. It hurts me. It hurts the people that want to buy one and do it the right way. Secondary market values, which do support the artist at the end of the day too, and support our hobby, because a lot of people buy things as an investment to maybe sell later. Like if you're in a pinch, you can sell your Juggernaut and make a little bit more than you paid for it, right? And it's very hard. It's a very hard thing, and I think we do need a little bit more compassion for people rather than 100% lighting them on fire. When we see something like that, you get maybe a couple of warnings, and then it can be escalated. But some people don't know, and they may come from a different hobby space and not understand that. Jody says all artists need that tech, and I'm more like, once I've tested it, I'm more than happy to let everybody know what it is. And then hopefully that'll help the hobby at large. Forgeries are getting more and more common. And it also hurts the artist if there's a bad reproduction of something. So like these filament printed stuff, it's not going to look nearly as good as a resin printed or a resin cast piece. And it hurts the casters too, because then people are like, oh, this is absolute crap. Like, where did this come from? Even if people, because we've seen it in the past where people have resin reproduced stolen things. And even that, if it's a bad reproduction, then it reflects badly upon the artist because the quality's crap, the caster looks like crap. It's bad all around and it hurts everybody. So just please don't. Please don't. And if you have questions on what's okay or not, ask somebody. People generally, you can tell online who's going to light you on fire for something immediately or have some compassion. So maybe reach out to the people that are a little more compassionate for help if you're not sure. Because there are no dumb questions. I think we need to operate in that space a little bit more these days, because it's really easy to just grab your torch and pitchforks and start lighting people on fire. It's not a way to keep people in the hobby, though. Jody, rarity makes the hunt more fun too. That is also true. I've seen people that have gotten a really good deal on some really rare pieces, and it just makes your day when that happens. So that's the thing. But I'll let you know more about that. There's some really cool stuff that I have the potential to do with said technology. So I can't wait to introduce it. If you guys are interested in that and seeing that sort of thing incorporated into my work, let me know. And then, yeah, we'll explore. All right, on that note, Pony Boy is almost done. So I have worked a little bit more on some painted things, and then this guy I showed off in the art hangout and in a recent video. So you can see he has primer on him now. We're getting super close. There's only a couple of little things that I got to do to him to get him ready to go. And then he is ready. Look at his little fuzzy belly and his little fuzzy feet. And so I mentioned in the video that everything on him is 100% epoxy original sculpted. I do still prefer sculpting in epoxy, but needs must. It's also good to branch out into technology like digital sculpting, and there are some benefits. I can easily scale things and put them in multiple scales really quickly. But I just like the physical, being able to see it and manipulate it and do the thing. Although, if you get something really wrong, in digital it's easy to go, whoop, but it also is easy for it to be warpy and wonky too. So nothing's really a cheat code. Everything has its pluses and minuses, but yeah, I still quite like 3D sculpt, or like the sculpting in physical 3D. So he does, like I mentioned before, hover on his tail. And we might have pre-orders starting as early as this week. So, little boy. And I will reveal his name when I do that, with all of his release information and then his little DARPA face, which is the best part of him. He's just like, I got the cute. Love the little like twisty lip, and he's just the best. So anyways, and he'll be cast by the Alps, so he'll stay within the US for shipping, which would be kind of nice. And they'll put a whole bunch of wire reinforcement through his tail to make sure that he can stand really stably, which would be fun. And then I guess the next studio update would be the saddlebred I'm still working on. I've ordered more resin for my 3D printer, and then I should be able to print a Venti master very shortly here. And then we'll go from there. Because this guy's traditional, so I'm gonna maybe stagger the sizes a little bit. I'm not sure how the release is necessarily gonna go, but I will let you guys know. I am starting club member workshops. So we're doing hangouts, and then we're also gonna start at least one workshop a month for now and test out how that's going. This is gonna be the workshop for the first one. It is on dapples. This is just a base coat in airbrush, kind of in a grisaille, which means just a black and white underpainting. And then I'm going to go over and show you guys some techniques in pastels and in oils for doing dapples. And some different ways of doing that to get different effects if you're looking for a softer dapple, if you're looking for a star dapple. So that should be really fun. And then it sounds like the next workshop's going to be some hair of some sort. We're not going to be able to do a mane and a tail both in one sitting, I don't imagine. But I'll cover some techniques for some tips and tricks for hair. And probably something like a mane first, and then I'll address the tail in a different workshop. And then you guys can ask me questions live and all that good stuff. So looks particularly cool with the like pinky purple background. Jody says he's friggin' cute. Sarah says he needs one. Tiffany, excited about the workshops. I'm so excited. And let me know what you guys want to see for workshops. I'm happy to do whatever. And then you can ask questions live. It's all included in the cost of your membership, even the $5 level. So you can come in, be like, I have questions. And then if it gets to be really, really busy, then we'll start breaking things out. But until then, we'll kind of go with the flow of it. And we've had really good luck with the hangouts and stuff so far. So I imagine the workshop should be reasonable. There was questions about if they will be recorded, and I will probably record them for club members. I believe that I can do that through the host. So if you miss a workshop, you can come and watch it after the fact. You just won't be able to ask questions live, but you're always welcome to send questions privately. So that would be kind of cool. So let me know what you want to see, and then we'll go from there. I wasn't sure if anybody wanted to see my hair, but we'll do that. I can do as many hair workshops as you want because I'm obsessed with it. And feathering for feet, because there's some tips and tricks that you can do for feathering with like little feeties and doing fluff, because that would be a whole other thing. Body fluff is a different kind of hair to normal fluff. Ta-da! All right, let's go into a rant. And it's always worth the little carrot dancey guy to do a rant. So let me have a sip of my pu'er tea. I was just thinking about the irony of the fact, well, not irony, the silliness of the fact that there's a frog sitting in my tea, steeping tea in his body cavity, and it's called pu'er tea. But anyways, on less weird notes, I would like to chat about playing. So hopefully some of these workshops and things and the puzzles and stuff is something that's a fun component for you guys. The hobby for a lot of people is a fun escape from reality, and I think that the burnout can come a lot from not playing with our horses, whether that's taking them outside and photographing them, having fun and painting them and customizing them, and just enjoying whatever about the hobby makes it fun for us. That could be tack, that could be showing, that could be doing all the pedigrees and the breed stuff. It could be, there's so many different options, or even just hanging out with people and chatting about ponies and looking at ponies and enabling other people to buy ponies, or having us enabled to buy ponies, or looking at thrift stores and finding new horses, or whatever might be the thing for you. Some people are really getting into the idea of the pony trading cards. So I've done the Ponyfest cards, and Paint Pony Studios is doing trading cards now. Stuff like that, collecting stickers, doing the expedition, which is kind of a cool level. Even as artists, as much as the art part can be a fun play component, a lot of times we get kind of mushed in that niche of, oh, I got to do the thing to sell the thing to do the thing, and everybody expects me to do it this way, which is why I try and avoid all boxes. I'm like, I'm going to do silly ponycorns that are balanced on their tail, and then I'm going to do serious saddlebred, and then I'm going to go do this other thing over here, or hippocampus. Because for me, it's like expect the unexpected. Because to get niched into, I'm only allowed to do stock horses or Mustangs, and I'm never allowed to do anything else, would be very challenging for me. There's a lot of fun that you can have within that space, but a lot of artists, we self like barricade our brains in this corner of I need to do things this way. Whereas playing with different techniques and trying to keep an open mind and playing with our art supplies can be really important too. So I'm playing with some oils, trying to do hair by hair detailing with oils, which is something that I haven't done before. I've done hair by hair detailing in acrylic. Come on, come on. And you can see kind of the really neat, this is just the first layer, but how cool that technique can really be, because acrylics can be challenging. They come out chalky and you get a harsher, this one I've already kind of gone over, but you get a little bit of a harsher hair pattern. So you can kind of still see it on the neck. I did go over this guy in oils just to shade a little bit and to play with some ideas. You can see some of the harshness there. And you can do it in pencils as well. Just playing with different techniques. It keeps it interesting for me, and each piece has a different feel, which might fit a different technique better. You can see I did his face on this side just with a layer of oils to cover what was pastel. So this was pastel, then with acrylic hair by hair, then covered with shading that is in oils, and then I did the face in oils on this side to play with some ideas. But I actually really quite like the oils over top of the acrylic hair by hair because it tones it down. Same thing would happen if you were using pastels, you could tone it down. But the oils was just kind of a fun, different thing to play with. And so, what benefit the oils can have is that it really allows you to keep the details as hard or as soft as you want. So, you can see I've in a lot of places really softened it to try and make it so that I'm not describing every hair for you. I have to paint technically every hair for you, but I'm softening it a little bit to kind of lead the eye a little bit better in a more kind of artistic way than a literal hair by hair way. And I quite like how that's starting to look. Like even on his face, I've got the shading in there, but just some of the little hairs pop out and grab you right away. The other ones you have to look closer for. And then you can see how the body doesn't have anything on it. So, and he was just the base coat with just the spots. There was no hair by hair detailing. That was all done with the oils. And then I could always go over top of that with something else. But I'm quite enjoying playing with things and remembering what it is to do that. The sticker club has also been that for me, getting to play with it, and this whole expedition thing. And I'm really realizing how much I might have disconnected from that heart of things. And I've always been a big proponent of having fun with it. Like this is just plastic ponies. We should have fun with our plastic ponies. Every once in a while, I go do and play with them and do stupid stuff because it's awesome. And then I'll put like a Breyer out in the paddock with the real horses, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's a Breyer!" It's just kind of fun. Which I do need to video one of these days because it's hilarious. And I taking our horses to the show and being like, "These are the ponies I love," and showing them all. So remembering to do fun, silly stuff and maybe take a class or do a workshop of something that you wouldn't normally do just to spice things up because it can be so easy to get stuck in a rut and then you're like, my rut feels like poo. Why does it feel like poo? Because you need that novelty, I think, to really enjoy stuff. And that play component in life and in the hobby and in art is very, very important to our souls. We need that. That's why hanging out with kids is really fun. If you have them or if you don't have them, you can hang around them every once in a while because there's so much life there that we lose if we're always focused on work and reality and problems and all the stuff that comes up in the day to day as it does. Um, what else is fun? Like playing with the idea of doing stuff that's a little bit more silly and not knowing how the hobby's necessarily going to take it, right? Like a pony that's leaping into the sky, that's wings are definitely not big enough to keep him flying, like a bumblebee, and then adding a little bit of magic with his horn. Like, it's just, you only get the really cool different stuff if you allow your brain to escape into those places and fool around and have silly stuff. Like there's a lady on Instagram that does these mashables and she's hilarious. Like you can't help but laugh watching her stuff because she's like, I'm gonna take this stupid thing and take this stupid thing and mush them together and it's gonna be an even stupider thing. And it's just, I like filling my feed with some of that stuff because it's wonderful. It's just it recharges you after a while of being silly. It's why people like memes and why you go to like the Clarion and I always look at the posters on the wall and look for those pictures of the posters in people's posts because they're so silly and wonderful and it's just it's fun. And the fun police can come and make the hobbyist all about serious business. The hobbyist? The hobby all about serious business and take away all that fun. And it's you gotta enjoy it. Like I've got a Magikarp that's staring at me right now. He's just there. And like the whole pony fest idea and ponies in general was all just fun, silly stupidity and having fun with it. Because a lot of times it's really nice to connect to that inner child through fandoms like Pokemon or however we want to do it. And have fun with it. We can be silly. It's okay. I am giving you permission right now to be silly. So, Sarah saying, yes, I love pony time. Try to keep Sundays open as pony days. And that's important too. I'm starting to learn to set days aside for things. I don't ever take usually like a specific day off, but making sure that I set an afternoon aside for like going to see Turbo and spending some time with him and going and doing gardening things or hanging out with my husband because right now the only day he gets off is Saturdays. So I'm trying to set that aside and setting aside time to play with your models if that isn't your day to day job. And I try and do like this is my fun art time. I'm going to sketch and do crazy stuff and work on whatever I want. It's like that Google principle where at their workplace they set aside I can't remember if it's 30% or 15% of their day just for other projects. Like this is your work time and then this is your creative play, fun, experiment, be come up with things like have fun with it that's very important because that's how you evolve and recharge and do all that good stuff so hopefully that helps if you're struggling with something being too serious because especially if you're going to shows and things are placing and people are like do the thing or you're doing commissions and it's all like within the ropes you gotta venture out and do other stuff every once in a while. Sarah, finding painting highly therapeutic. And I really like that about the hobby because there's so many different niches of tack making and doll making and prop making and breeding and all this. Like the stables that people have been doing recently are super cool. Painting models, custom, like there's so many different options of kind of choose your own adventure to really have the best time and learn cool stuff, meet cool people, and develop skills that you never know where they're going to take you. So, Jody's saying silliness is so important. And I agree, as you know. So, that's what I've been up to. Because this has gone a little bit later than I thought it was going to, I was trying to keep this one shorter, but I did not keep it short because we ranted a few times. Um, I'm going to let you guys wander off without a hyperfixation because we kind of dipped into hyperfixation territory a couple times. But next Sunday should be the reveal for the Medallion Club, and I'll show that live on the stream. That is also the day that I'm doing the workshop on Dapples, so you can still get in on that if you're not a club member and you want to join in and start learning from workshops and stuff. And then what else will I have? I might even have the stickers in hand by then, which would be really cool to show within the stream for you guys. So should be fun stream. Hang around for that. Come back for that. All right. In the meantime, I will see some of you guys in about 45 minutes. Technically, well, 42 minutes. And then others of you I will see next Sunday or through the week as I post random stuff. But I appreciate you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you for loving this crazy thing that I have created and supporting it, because that keeps it going and I very much appreciate it. I would not do well in an office job anymore. I am too feral for that. So thank you for saving me from that. All right. Love you guys. I will see you next time. Remember, don't feed the trolls.